Hey guys, I'm back. I'm in the shop today and I was just screwing around outside and I thought, you know what? We did the Makatogan and we made a Mora type carving knife, which is more like their standard classic knife. And I thought, why not make a like a Sloyd type style carving knife? And it's going to be a real simple project. And I thought maybe I'm actually making these because they're going to be test knives, and then I'm thinking about carrying like a regular Sloyd style carving knife on my website along with the Makatogans, and I'm also going to start carrying a hook knife, just a simple hook knife. It's going to be reasonably priced, be a little bit more than a Mora, but it's going to be better than a Mora too. So, but for right now, we're going to work on this Sloyd knife, and I'm going to show you guys how to make a simple one. The one I'm going to make is going to be made out of, for the website, it's going to be made out of 1095 high carbon steel. The test ones I'm going to make are going to be made out of a couple of old files. I just happen to have the file stock here. I didn't have the steel and I got kind of an itch to do it today, so that's what we're doing. But anyways, this file here is, actually let me put this other one aside. This file here is kind of like a thread file. It's tapered this way and it's tapered this way a little bit. So it's tapered lengthwise and it's tapered that way. Now, when I start selling them on our website, they're not going to be tapered this way. And instead of having a taper like this, they're just going to have a high scanty grind to make them nice and sharp. And the grind's going to be about 22 degrees, 12 degrees on the side, or 11 or 12, about 11 degrees on the side, give or take a degree. And then, because I haven't decided what I want there, and then we're going to go ahead and just make it out of 1095 steel. It's going to be pretty much just a just your basic carving knife. And here's the outline of one, just a blade blank that I haven't really decided for sure on, but I'm thinking that's it. It's got a real nice thin tip to it, and it's a pretty thin blade, and it's just carving. It's just a carving knife. It's not going to be go out and baton it or anything like that, because you'll snap it. So you will snap it if you freaking start beating on it real hard. But yeah, so this is going to be today's project, and since I got this one kind of laid out, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this file, and I'll probably end up keeping one and testing it, and if it tests out pretty good, I might just throw the other one on my website up for sale, because I don't need more than one. But yeah, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pattern and we're going to lay it on top of this other file, and we're just going to kind of get an idea of what we need to take off there, and we're just going to grind it to match. And these are going to be two exactly the same knife patterns. So let me go ahead and get this camera set up around the grinder, and you can watch me grind for a couple minutes, and then I'll shut it off, because I'm sure you guys don't want to sit there and watch me grind for an hour or half an hour. So let me go ahead and do that. Oh, and by the way, before I even started grinding on this, I stuck these in the forge and heated up the steel. Heated both these files up and normalized the steel, which is basically you just heat them up till they're non-magnetic, and then I just leave them lay in the forge until they cool down on their own real slow. And what that does is it softens this file steel, because try grinding on it without softening it, sometimes it can be a real bugger. You'll wear things out, like your grinding wheels and stuff. But so I'm working with a soft piece of steel, which that's the one thing that if you decide to do this at home, you're going to have to figure out a way to harden it and temper it at home without a forge. And you could easily do something like this with something like these file knives with a I think the first time I ever did one, when I was trying to heat it up to non-magnetic I did it with a propane torch first time, which was a long time ago. And I had to put a tin can, I stuck the knife in a vise, put a tin can over it, and then heated it up with the propane torch, and the tin can held all the heat in. And I got it up to orange, it was non-magnetic, and I quenched it in oil. And then I turned around into heat treated. I took it in the house and stuck it in my oven. The old lady wasn't too happy about it, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, so this was softened, so you know. I'm going to go ahead and keep grinding on this till I get the profile I want, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so now we got both blades. They're ground exactly the same. There's two of them here, and I can see right now they both have bends in them, so we're going to end up heating them back up and put them on the anvil and straighten them out. But we'll do that when we go to get a little closer to them being done. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to stick them in my vise right here, and I'm just going to file all around all of them and just clean them up, make them look nice and square and flat, and you know, just make them look nice and neat. And another thing you want to do is you're going to want to file this edge, this cutting edge, flat too. That way when you go to sharpen it, you got a nice straight flat edge to sharpen to. If you leave the little file teeth in there, you'll get down to where it's almost perfectly sharp, and then you'll realize there's little divots along the edge from the file teeth. So you don't want to do that. It's a common mistake when you first begin, because you don't really think about that, you know. But anyway, so let me go ahead and file these up and make them look nice and pretty, and then we'll be ready for another step. Okay guys, so all the light filing is done on this. They're both set up. They're ready to actually they're ready to get an edge put on them. I'm going to go ahead and leave the file marks in them because I'm not that worried about that, because these are kind of test knives and I want them to look kind of rustic anyways. That's the whole idea of this, is to have like a rustic looking carving knife that'll go with my all my hand forged other knives, because we're making kind of, the whole idea is this is going to be a video series. We made the Makatagan, we made the Bushcraft knife, and they were all kind of rough forged and ground and a little bit of everything just to make them, and they look rough, and that's what I wanted. And we're going to make a one of these carving knives to go with that set, and then we're going to go ahead and make a just a regular old-fashioned spoon knife too to go with it. But that'll be the next video. So anyways, you know, I'm going to post all these as a series, so you know. Anyways, so next thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to heat these up and try to straighten them out a little bit on the forge. So just stay with me. Okay, so I got the forge lit and the blades are in there. I'm just going to kind of play around until they get up to temperature. straight. I'm not trying to move any metal around or anything like that, just trying to straighten out the blades so they don't have a little bit of work in them. think that'll do that. Let me go ahead and let these cool, and then we'll double check them real good, make sure they're nice and flat. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I got the profile of the blades all done. That's the profile. We're all done with them as far as that goes. Now we're going to put the edge on. Because these things are tapered this way, I can't put them in my jig, because no matter how you clamp them down, you're always clamping at an angle. You know, you're actually clamping like this in the jig instead of straight up and down. Now if I was using just plain regular flat stock, I'd clamp these in my jig, go over to my belt sander and just put the edges on real quick and be done. But I can't do that with these, which is fine, because, and I am going to do it with the belt sander on the production blades, but for these two we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it by hand, which is fine, because unless you guys have a belt sander and a jig, you're not going to be able to do it on that anyways. And this is supposed to be the type of knife that anybody can make. So we're doing it old school. We're getting out the I got a here, let me get a close up. I got a knife clamped to a wooden board right here, and then I just take my file and file across it. I'll take a few strokes on each side, trying to hold the same angle. And then I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. And then every once in a while, I'll check it with a, I'll check the angle with this little angle tool, angle gauge. And there's a big old bang. I'll check the angle with the angle gauge, and I want 22 degrees, but I want 11 degrees on each side. I don't want like 13 on one side and, you know, 10 on the other. So, or 11 on the other. But anyways, so you just gotta take your time with this, a little bit at a time till you get the angle right. Let me do a little file, and I'll be right back. I guess the trick here is just to get a good approximate angle on this thing, so you know what you've got going on with it. So you just gotta keep using your gauge and keep checking. File a little bit, check it, flip it, file a little bit, check it. Just keep doing it until you get what you're looking for. And if you're a degree off, it probably isn't going to hurt it that bad. Like I said, the other blades that I do will be done on the grinder, on the belt grinder, and they will be an exact degree, which is 22 is what I'm shooting for. But I wanted to do this just to try to do something a little different. And just do a knife that anybody could do in their garage. And you just take it off and check it. Okay, let me go ahead and finish grinding, or finish filing this thing out, and we will get back with you. Okay guys, so one blade is almost done. It's you have to focus in. It's ground down to where there's just a little flat on it. You can see it if I put the light on it just right. And I'll probably leave it right there at that stage before I harden it. And because I got to heat this up to orange, then I'll harden it, and then I'll clean it up a little bit more, and then heat treat it, and then do the final sharpening on it. But this is pretty dang close already. So that one's done as far as for now, and it's got a really nice, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's not going to focus, yeah, like that's going to help. But anyways, it's got a really nice fine tip on it. It's going to be tricky to heat treat this thing. We want to heat treat it so that the tip doesn't break off on us either, so we'll have to be real careful with this. Like I said, we'll harden it first. I'm going to harden it in warm oil, not cold oil, because I don't want it to get so hard that it makes the end of it brittle. So we'll harden it in oil, warm oil, and then we will go ahead and probably get the emery cloth out and the whetstones and finish it off that way. So let me go ahead and do the same thing to the other blade, and then we'll go ahead and go to the next step. Okay, so as I'm filing this second one, once you get your angle established on your piece, it's not that hard to keep that angle. You just got to remember to keep your file at the same angle as you're going down along this piece, and you can feel it when you're filing. You can feel whether you're digging up into the whole thing or if you're just digging into part of it. It takes a little bit of practice, but you know, it's really not as bad as it seems like it would be. And the trick is to try to get your angle right away. That way when you get into it a little farther, you got room for error if you need to straighten something out or fix it or whatever. And as far as making sure you have the same amount taken off each side, I just eyeball the grind line, how high you are on each side, and that'll get you really darn close enough for us for this anyway. And then, like I said, you just take your gauge and you just check it for the angle, and this thing's like probably almost perfect all the way along, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's almost a perfect 22 degrees. I need to take just a hair more off with the file, and then this will be done. So let me get back to you.